Yeah, but no one's on here, so it's fine.
Okay, just repost it to the group.
Hello and welcome to the 9th annual New Year's Party and Show. Isn't that a hoot? Oh, golly gee willikers. Oh, 2020 just wrapped up in a frickin' bow, is it not? Oh, my golly gee willikers. Okay. Yeah, we're definitely. Welcome to the 9th annual New Year's Party and Show. It's been a show so far, hasn't it? A lot of black screens, a little bit of technical issues, followed by a technical issue, followed by yet another technical issue. Okay, alright, well, welcome to the 9th annual New Year's Party and Show. This year has been truly eye-opening. 2020. That should be a verb in and of itself. 2020. You are so. Last year, I said that we, all of us, should live with clarity. With some 2020 vision. With that, we have seen ugly. We have seen beauty. We have seen hate. And we have seen love. This year, in hindsight, we need to focus on the good, on the beautiful, and on the love. And I know hindsight isn't 2021. No one says, "Oh, hindsight is 2021." And in fact, 2021 is a worse visual acuity. But we're all a little worse for wear, aren't we? A little beat down. And that's exactly why we need to find that teensy little bit. We need to fight to find that bit and hang on to it for dear freaking life. And just try and make it that much itty bitty bit better. For those who don't know, this show started small and on an impulse. It grew based on a whim. And yet, it grew to where we are now. And although this is a little weird, it's just as weird for you as it is for me. I'm standing here staring at a camera on a tripod, screaming right now. There's a mic above me, and this is weird. But at least my production crew and everyone involved think that this is good for the show. It gives us a new challenge. It forced our hand, made us think outside the box, think about something new, think in terms of what's next. And, damn it, I have to say it. And I know a lot of you are thinking it, and you know exactly where I'm going with this, but damn it, I have to say it. I think that this is going to be the best year yet. Woo! Yeah! Well, so one advantage of doing this via a live stream is because I know a lot of you had moans and a lot of you rolled your eyes, but I don't see them and I can't hear them. So, I've put a lot of effort into tonight's show, but I want to start off with something of my own, which I actually don't have 2020. Am I right? Hang on one sec. I had it close, at least. I like to just start with a quick poem. I mean, that's where this show started 9 years ago, and I like to hold true and hold fast on that tradition. So, this poem was written by a user named Neroverse on allpoetry.com, and it's called "Lost in the Past." The sullen trace of stolen time, the sleeping silence of the past, entice me with a voice sublime, and tempt me with words now gone to rest. With hindsight brandished, we may learn the distance secrets of our track. But all they do is make me yearn, for time moves forward, never back. With that said, we are also now going to jump into a different entry from a familiar face. You'll see what I mean when we get into it. But immediately following this entry, we are going to go into a new face. Someone that most of you have not seen. Some of you have met. But most of you have not seen or don't know the talents that this person hides. So, without much further ado, we are going to jump first to Jeremy.
I was talking to our esteemed host Josh yesterday, and he mentioned how hard it is to tell a good story. So I'm not going to try to do that, but I'll try to tell a mediocre story. This is my ship's log. I create an entry every time we go out on this boat. There have been 50-something entries this year, but I'm going to read you my favorite one. It's really two. But each entry starts with a date, how many souls were on board, or people on board, and then where we went from and where we went to. So usually it's something like Harbor View to Annapolis and back. But this one starts 5/9/20. 4 souls on board, Harbor View to Jackson Creek, ... The engine started like a champ. No alarm, thanks to the new fresh water pump and alternator belt I installed this week. We ate some lunch before setting off and chatted about what knot was best to use for towing the dinghy along behind us. I read that some hitch was the best, said Kelly. Why not just use a bowline, I replied. It was one of those days that you didn't want to be making or eating lunch at sea if you didn't have to. You know, the kind of day where everyone looks at you like you're crazy when you say you're going sailing. When the Coast Guard issues a gale force wind warning. When you sail across the entire Chesapeake Bay and you don't see a single other pleasure craft. For reference, there are 200,000 pleasure craft registered in Maryland and 199,999 were wise enough to stay home today. But tomorrow is Mother's Day, and why would we drive to the Eastern Shore when we could sail? We set sail, very little sail, and let the gales push us out of the Patapsco and into the ocean. I mean bay. In fairness, they were virtually indistinguishable today, with massive rollers pitching the 40,000-pound Panthalassa like a bath toy. We were having a blast. The new Dyneema furling line held strong with 35 knots, threatening to blow the jib's clew clean off. Sorry for all the sailing terms. A jibe preventer got more exercise on the mizzen, more sailing terms, than I'd care to admit. We were making record time as we entered the Chester River. Never before seen chop crashed broadside over Panthalassa, pushing us closer to eastern Neck Island as we beat our way through the waves toward our anchorage at Jackson Creek. I looked back across our stern at the Whitecaps, and our dinghy riding them like a surfer at Waimea Bay. Wait. Where's the dinghy? The crew's hearts jumped into their collective throats as they looked astern into the blue and white abyss with no dinghy in sight. Was it my bowline? Kelly whimpered. Garrett scurried to the aft deck and hauled the dinghy tow line aboard. See Exhibit A. This is Exhibit A. Hopefully you can see it. It's Garrett on the aft deck, the dinghy tow line, Kelly's bowline still intact, and no dinghy. We doused sails and immediately headed about. The engine struggled against heavy seas as the crew kept eyes peeled for a little gray dot among the Whitecaps. Hopes sunk quickly with the prospect of the dinghy already washing onto Eastern Neck's shallows, seeming more likely by the second. Disheartened, we headed to our anchorage. I use that word loosely, as the surrounding land did virtually nothing to buffer the wind and waves. As we approached the 14-foot area of the charts, the depth finder read 7 feet. For butt-puckering reference, Panthalassa draws 6 feet. Ah! We sped away, full throttle, and dropped anchor, with spray coming over the bow. I've never felt the anchor rode so tight, despite the 6-to-1 scope. We discussed options and arranged for someone to ferry us to shore in the morning, but we opted to shovel nachos in our mouths and set off into the waves to attempt to get back to Harborview within 10 hours so we could sleep for a few hours and go search for the dinghy by land in the morning. We raised the anchor line, a well-oiled crew, and Kelly piloted us at 2.5 knots, which is like a little bit of a walking speed, into the sunset. Panthalassa is no small vessel, known for her ocean-faring capabilities, but her decks got soaked. Everyone bundled up and hunkered down for the exceptionally uncomfortable voyage. A few hours later, I took the helm and navigated through the darkness across the bay. Angel admired the gigantic moon rising over our wake, some much-needed beauty among the sea's chaos. The wind and waves gradually subsided, hour by hour, mile by mile, with the Key Bridge in our sights. And then I signed off, Captain J. Salkin. But went immediately into the next log here, 5/10/2020. 4 souls on board, ... and back. Garrett took the helm at midnight. He dodged container ships, tugs, and barges, all the way down the Patapsco. Dreary-eyed, we docked, tidied, and passed out. Kelly cooked cinnamon rolls, and Garrett cooked egg and sausage in the morning. They left for Eastern Neck Island by car, and Angel and I headed to my parents' place, also by car. Unfortunately, as we sit here sipping cocktails, safe at dock, our dinghy dock remains empty. Fingers crossed someone finds her washed ashore and contacts DNR. You'll have to keep reading to find out. Captain J. Salkin. I'm going to leave you there with that cliffhanger, and I'll tell Josh what happened. He's welcome to let you know later in the show. You know, or not. Happy New Year.
I got my ticket from a long way round. 2 bottle whiskey for the way. And I sure would like some to be company. And I'm leaving tomorrow, what do you say? But I'm gone. You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk. You're gonna miss me by my talk. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I got my ticket for the long way round, the one with the prettiest of views. It's got mountains mountains, it's got rivers, it's got sights to give you shivers. It sure would be prettier with you when I'm gone. When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair. You're gonna miss me everywhere. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Hey, hi there. Yeah, we're still trying to figure this out. First year, we got to go through a few growing pains and such like that. Um, so, welcome back. That was Jeremy regaling us with a tale and a new face to most of you. Her name was Celeste. And we have actually been begging Celeste to join in on the show for 2 years now. And we finally convinced her to do it, albeit via a video. And we were. So that's one advantage of 2020 and doing this all virtually is we get to do videos. And I mean, frankly, we get to experience new. Well, I already said it, new challenges, but we get to look at it in a different light, a different way, and possibly do things that we couldn't do before. And so I decided that I would like to try something new, utilize the medium, as it were, really go for it. We bought a nice camera in order to do this, and we figured we might as well fully take advantage. So next up is a little video that we put together, and I have dubbed it Office Party. So without further ado, here is Office Party. Oh. 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 Hello. I didn't think you'd get here so quick. Welcome to my office. I sometimes like to come here and just read and be by myself. But tonight is a special treat because I'd like to share my sweet retreat with you. And I would like to, if I may, read from what has to be my favorite body of literature. It's an aggregate, if you will. It covers many different aspects, many different things, and just gives you a lot of joy. And that book is Uncle John's Endlessly Engrossing Bathroom Reader. So, to start, I would like to... We all had a tough year. And nothing really makes you feel better. I mean, laughter is the best medicine, is it not? Nothing really makes you feel better than a good chuckle, a good laugh. I'd like to start by reading a few pranks. In September 2007, Amir Blumenfeld learned that his friend, Streeter Siddell, was going to attend a New York Yankees game with his girlfriend, Sharon. So Blumenfeld called Yankee Stadium and paid $500 for a marriage proposal to be displayed on the stadium's Jumbotron. Siddell's proposal to Sharon. In the middle of the fifth inning, this message appeared on the huge screen in front of 57,000 people. Dear Sharon, I love you forever. Will you marry me? Streety Bird. Sharon immediately burst into happy tears and jumped to her feet, shouting, yes! Siddell, however, went into a panic. He denied he'd actually proposed, insisting it was a hoax. And when he said, I don't want to fucking marry you, Sharon slapped him across the face and stormed out of the game. Blumenfeld, meanwhile, had enlisted some friends to sit near Siddell to videotape the proposal and its aftermath. And that video wound up being viewed by hundreds of thousands of people. Because Blumenfeld and Siddell both work for the internet comedy site collegehumor.com. Oh, what a fake proposal. That poor Sharon. The 1956 Olympics were held in Melbourne, Australia. 9 University of Sydney students thought it was appalling that the Olympic torch relay, created by the Nazis in the 1936 Berlin Games, was elevating the torch to a level of religious icon, with thousands of Australians lining the streets of Sydney wherever the relay passed through. So they devised a plan to protest the torch with a phony relay. In the real relay, cross-country athlete Harry Dillon was supposed to run through downtown Sydney and hand the torch to Mayor Pat Hills, who would then take a speech or give a speech and give the torch to another runner. Moments before Dillon was to arrive, however, one of the protesters began running in the streets with a torch, a silver-painted chair leg topped with a flaming pair of underpants. The crowd laughed at the prank, but then the underwear fell off and the runner panicked and ran away. Another student took up the torch with a relit pair of underpants and continued to run the route. And police thought he was the real deal. They escorted him all the way to town hall, where he presented the flaming underpants to Mayor Hills. Oh, those British convicts. Oh, they are a hoot, aren't they? Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed this even half as much as I did. I hope you have a wonderful evening and enjoy the rest of your show. Good night. Hopefully you can see me. Is the Zoom going to me? Maybe? Is Zoom going to me?
Nobody can
Nope.
hear you.
Shit. Fucking pull it up, god damn it. I know all of y'all can hear me right now. Yes, there are some more technical difficulties. I promise that we are working on this. Lee, I know that you can hear me. So you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and give a audio entry or intro because no one can see me. And you know what? I'm not sure what's going on now. Lee, can you hear me? Please shake your head, yes or no.
I'm shaking my head yes or no.
Well, thank you very much, Lee. Everyone, Lee joined us for the first time last year and fell in love with it so much that he came up to me and he's during intermission and he said, "Josh, you know, I've got a few photos that I'd like to or a few stories that I'd like to share with you." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, sure, yeah, come up there." And he proceeded to just absolutely kill the crowd with laughter. So, without further ado, here is Lee to share with us a few more wonderful stories. Hit it, Lee.
Well, I kind of feel a little bad now about that intro because while last year was a comedy, whenever you approached me this year, um, I really had to do some introspection on what kind of story to tell this time. For those of you who weren't here last year, I told the story of how we used to just mess with the people that we were in the military with, and that's where most of my stories come from, is from my time and experience in the military. Um, but for this year, the way how everything went, for how much just strife and nonsense that we've dealt with for the last 9 months, I wanted to tell a story instead that was hopefully going to give us a little bit of a perspective as to whenever you're dealing with the downs, you are potentially building something better in the future. So, like I said last year, I was with Third Special Forces Group in the Army for 6 years. I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, and specifically to my first trip to Iraq. Um, we uh, we were given a mission set to go out and look at going after a guy named Muqtada al-Sadr, and he's a pretty bad guy. In April of 2006, he went and found out all the Iraqis that were working for the DoD, and found out where they lived, found out who they were, everything. And one morning, he sent all his little minions out, and as this group of 18 people were heading off to work, he killed 14 of them on their doorstep. Um, Obviously, Iraq was not a very good place to work as it was when Saddam was in charge, but having that as a threat over your head was definitely something that they were dealing with, and so it was a tragedy that was not wholly unexpected. Needless to say, we went to go and find the guy who killed all these people on their doorsteps for doing nothing more than having a job. Fast forward a little bit, the story isn't actually about the deployment. The story actually takes place about 2 years ago. I moved up here to Maryland from North Carolina and started working for Fannie Mae. And I worked in an office down in Reston. And there was a day I was sitting there and minding my own business, and I hear right from the security desk right outside the corner that Iraq in 2006 and Baghdad. And so immediately my military ears perk up, and I'm like, oh, there's another guy here for me to go and hang out with. So as soon as I get done with a little bit of work, I walk around the corner to the security desk and I go up to the gentleman's there, and I'm saying, hey, you know, who was the guy in Baghdad? And the guy raises his hand. Oh, it was me. I was there, and last time I was there was 2006. I was like, cool, man. I was there too. Who are you with? What did you do? And he just kind of looks at me like I have a dick on my forehead. Like, I don't know what the hell you're even talking about. And I'm like, well, were you Army? Were you Air Force? Were you Navy? What were you there for? And he goes, oh, no, I used to live there. And I was like, oh, well, how did you get to America? He goes, well, May of 2006, the U.S. government moved us to Michigan. I was only like 10 at the time. He goes, I don't really know a whole lot. And I was like, well, did you like just get a visa? Like, how did that work? He goes, well, my dad used to work for the DoD whenever the Iraq invasion happened, and the only thing he's told me is that some stuff happened and we had to leave because I got woke up one night and I went to the airport and then we left. And that's whenever it kind of triggered in my head, like, well, why else would somebody get rushed out of the country if not for this? And so I asked him, I said, what did your dad do for the DoD? He goes, well, he was an interpreter. did he go because a bunch of his friends got killed? He goes, I don't know. I was like, oh, all right, well, I went over there and that was kind of a thing for that. Go out my business, go about my day, go to lunch, come back from lunch, and he's standing there waiting for me at my office with a phone in hand. And he goes, hey, I really would like you to just talk to my dad for a second. Okay. So this guy is the son of one of the interpreters who was one of the four people who survived Muqtada al-Sadr killing people on their doorstep. And the U.S. government moved them immediately out of Iraq, sent them to Michigan, set them up with a place to live, set them up with a future. And now here I am on the completely opposite side of the damn globe, in not even a military setting, not even a place that they moved to, running into this one person whose life has been fundamentally altered by the most tragic and horrific of tidings. His dad could have very well have been one of those 14 people, and the only reason he wasn't, after I talked to his dad, was about 2 weeks before, because he was starting to make better money working for the DoD. He moved his family, and they bought a brand new house in a different part of Baghdad, and he hadn't updated the records yet inside the office to say where he lived. And so the record that they had for that guy was not the place. It was empty. It was a dry hole. There was no one there. That was why he survived. But then you have this ultimate serendipitous moment where you run into this person who, I didn't specifically touch his life. I didn't specifically be a part of what led him to where he's at, but to know that I was there going after things that completely altered his entire perspective of the world. And so as I was thinking about the stories that I was going to tell for 2020, this one is the one that popped up because this year sucked. Uh, Everyone has had to do with just all kinds of nonsense. But if we just take it on the chin as this year sucked, and we don't do anything with it, then we're not going to get anywhere. So the same way that a guy having all his friends killed in Iraq, which I realize completely different thing, COVID, whatever. But the same way that he's had his life completely altered, we should view it in that viewpoint too. Um, Look at the way we're doing this now. Who knows? This is now as a microcosm how we could be doing this in the future. We can now expand the audience. We can now reach other people, and so don't let this year be about the can't do's, the inabilities, the different obstructions that we've dealt with. Look at how those obstacles are going to get us to the next place. And so while I didn't laugh your asses off this year, I hope that at least the message will push us all into the next year to have an amazing 2021, so that this time next year I can tell a joke instead of some mopey story trying to tug at your heartstrings. And with that, back to you, Josh.
Thank you very much, Lee. I'm not getting off of you yet because apparently my video is still not working right. But so oh my gosh. The thing I have to say is that Jeremy hit the nail on the head. When I was talking to him the other day, people, it's hard to tell a story that keeps everybody, right? And I'm trying to make it so that everyone can see me rather than staring at Lee, and I do apologize, Lee.
No, it's quite all right. This hair is fabulous. This is my COVID hair. This is 6 months of growth because it's very hard to get a haircut appointment, and I don't have to impress anybody. That's a benefit here. No one I have to go out and stare at anymore.
I'm unimpressed.
Thank you. Then my job. Get a joke after all.
Well, so actually, everyone should be able to see me now. That was truly some heavy stuff, but you were absolutely correct. It's all about perspective. Uh, uh, Everything is about perspective and finding that that thing and trying to, yeah, this was bad, but it could be worse. So, uh, ultimately, thank you so much. I'm so glad that I went through all of that effort to convince you to tell a story this year. Um, don't worry, the check is in the mail. Um, I did have to refinance the house in order to get it, but it is in the mail. I promise. Um, thank you very much. Next, though, we are going to be moving on to another new face. This gentleman is gonna serenade us. So next, we are going to move on to Tom.
Let us pause in life's pleasure and count its many tears, while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. While we seek mirth and beauty and music bright and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though our voices are silent, their pleading looks will say, oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis a sigh that is wafted across the troubled wave. 'Tis a wail that is heard upon the shore. 'Tis a dirge that is murmured around this lowly grave. Oh, hard times come again no more. 'Tis the song, the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. Oh, hard times.
We got it that time. Okay. Hey, well, thank you very much, Tom. That was actually I did not know what story that Lee was gonna give, but I honestly could not have picked a better song to go after Lee's story. So thank you very much, Tom, for sending in that video. Thoroughly enjoyed it. However, I think now we're we're set sufficiently down. Let's bring some jokes in to bring us all back up. Um, you know what? Just next is Garrett.
Hello, future me, and welcome everyone to my 5 minutes of attempted stand-up comedy for the year of 2020. You might recognize this as 2020 because what you're about to witness is likely going to be an unmitigated disaster. You're home, alone, probably drunk, and statistically speaking, at least one of you has COVID. Now, I've always struggled with how to start these off. Normally, I'm way more drunk, so it's a lot easier for me. Sadly, this time I'm not. Hopefully, you are. But like most shows, I'm going to start off with an actual comedian that's actually funny, we all have a laugh, and then we'll move on to my material, and we'll see how that goes. So, with no further ado, 2020 was a banner year for pretty much everyone. A lot changed, society as we know was reorganized, and there was massive upheavals across the entire world. And like half of Americans decided to make a conspiracy theory part of their personality. I've decided to join them and make a lodestone of my new personality going into 2021 just be conspiracy theories. But instead of yelling about cabinets on the internet, I've decided to just reject science, but not all of it, just parts of it. Specifically, theory of gravity. That's right, I no longer believe in gravity. I think the Earth just sucks. Hope you all had a laugh. It's going to get worse from there. Have you ever shown up overdressed to a party? I mean, I know not this one, because you're home, probably alone, like I said, in your pajamas, 3 sheets to the wind, watching me make a fool of myself. But like, when we used to have parties, did you ever show up in a suit and tie or something like that, and it was your friend's like costume party, and you have to spend the entire evening answering questions from people like, oh, who are you going as? And you have to be like, I guess just like your betters. But seriously, like, the worst I ever showed up overdressed to a party. One time, I wore a turtleneck to a bris. If you didn't get that, talk to your Jewish friends. They'll explain it to you. Speaking of, me and my Jewish friend, Jeremy, we were going out the other day. We were doing chores, running around, doing just boat errands and stuff. And we passed by a breakfast place with a peculiar name. Now, I love breakfast. Jeremy loves breakfast. And the place that we passed by was a bagel place. Both Jeremy and I legitimately love bagels. But we decided not to stop. And the reason was because of the name of the place. See, it was called Uber Bagels. And the two of us thought that the German prefix maybe a tad on the nose for a bagel joint, you know? I mean, it might have been a legitimately superior bagel, in which case it deserves its title. Maybe it was an Uber Munch, but like, probably wasn't, and so it's just kind of awkward. That's another thing this whole routine is going to have with 2020. There's going to be a lot more Nazis in it than we thought. And they're just going to keep coming for some goddamn reason. Non sequitur joke. The cost of living is too damn high. That wasn't really a joke. If you laughed, good for you, and if you got the reference, even better. But it seriously is. And the demand and increase of the 2-earner household has had serious impacts on America and American society in general. One of the things I credit with the need for multiple earners in a home is the rise of polyamory, especially in my age group. I mean, I figure if it takes 3 people to be able to afford to live in a home and raise some kids, and late-stage capitalism is going to fuck you anyway, you might as well date. Besides, it should be way more embarrassing for all of us that we make pennies on the dollar to what our bosses make, rather than tell me about what your wife's boyfriend does on the side. Like, oh yeah, Jim? Super nice dude. Like, has a master's degree, brews beer, pillar of the community, does like community organization, watches the kids, does the yard work, like super good guy. Yeah, me and him. Yeah, he packs Amazon boxes with me, like 1 row down. Like, you guys should go get a beer. Super cool dude. Now, I know this is going to be kind of weird, but I never, like, like never ever wash my hands after I pee. And before you all are aghast and you text me about how disgusting that is, you're probably home with your boyfriend, if you're a girl, or a guy. I want you to stop and I want you to turn and look at him. Look at him in the eyes and think to yourself, does he actually really care? Does he really? And I want you to realize that no, he really fucking doesn't. Like, the fact that he's able to do as onerous a task as tying his own shoelaces in the morning is a miracle, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. But before you get up on your high horse, understand that you too, once you're 2 beers deep on a Tinder date, will do far worse than what I'm suggesting. Now, if a lesbian couple comes up to me and has a problem with it, I totally get that. Totally legitimate experience. I get where they're coming from. But everybody else, live in your goddamn shame like the rest of us. Now, every single year, I do a joke about Kelly and dating Kelly. And this year, it's going to be no different. I'm going to do one. And hopefully, we all laugh unlike all the other years. So, I've been dating Kelly for about 4 years now. And the issue is, I've never really gotten over the first date jitters because she's so attractive. And it doesn't really help me. And it's not really nice or good. Like, I still lose my shit every single time she takes off her bra. And like, you'll go out with guys and you always hear him say like, oh, you know what you gotta do, as he sips his beer for some reason. You gotta think about baseball. That shit doesn't fucking work. I mean, I've been doing it for years and it just straight up doesn't work. Now, all that happens is I'm attracted to fucking baseball. We'll be flipping through the channels and all of a sudden baseball come on. And like the drone of the announcer. It's the bottom of the 7th. There are 2 outs. There's a man on second. 1 ball, 1 strike. And boom, like Pavlov's horse, I'm ready to fucking go. Now, I just turned 30, and I've dated a lot of women in my 30 years. And I have to say, Kelly, easily one of the most attractive, but like some of the most fun dates I've ever been on, fun times I've ever had, have been with, not Kelly, they've been with other people. Specifically, Jewish girls. I actually really have a thing for Jewish girls. I've dated a lot of women, dated Asians, Latinos, white girls, pretty much the spectrum of humanity I've dated as long as they're girls. And I think Jewish girls are probably my favorite. If you have the chance, I would suggest it. A lot of fun, 10 out of 10, would recommend. However, my kink for finding a nice Jewish girl might be a little awkward because of my German ancestry. See, it's the second one. You didn't laugh the second time either, but they just keep fucking coming. So, I hope you don't find that joke or any of the other jokes that I'm going to tell tonight enough to cancel me or, send me an angry text about why I'm an asshole. I promise I'm not actually an asshole, and those of you that know me understand that. I just play one for the internet for 5 minutes a year. Attempted. And I understand as our society progresses, certain things fall in and out of fashion. And I'm okay with that. If in 5 years I look back at this and I'm like, that was in bad taste and I shouldn't have said that, I'll own up to it. Like, I'm not a bad person, just trying to make a joke. And if in a couple of years it turns out to not have been a good idea, I'll admit it. So I propose that we create a new standard for what's good and what's not. And this is legitimate. I think if you're going to tell a joke at other people's expense, make sure that they can pay. Like, that's a good thing. Punching down is not funny in our society anymore, and I don't think it should be. However, that does not mean that you can't not tell jokes about other people. It just means that they have to be able to pay for the joke, the expense of it. And that's fine. And as evidence of this idea, I would like to put forth this joke. Probably my favorite joke I've written all year, and none of you are going to laugh at it. Maybe one person, but that's it. But bear with me because I think it's hilarious. It does require you to have a working knowledge of like pre-Alexander the Great, like philosophy and politics. But if you have that baseline knowledge, it's going to be a funny joke. So, with no further ado, if I was born a woman and I decided that my sex and gender did not match, and I decided I wanted to transition to be more authentic to myself, I would absolutely come out to all of my friends and family wearing a giant chicken suit and say, "Behold, a man." See, none of you laughed at that, but trust me, there's one person in the audience right now that thinks that's fucking hilarious. The person might be me, sitting in my boxers at home alone drinking, but at least one person thought that was funny. Trust me on it. And I don't really get where the right wing comes from. And they're so angry about stuff like this, about like the feminization of America. Like, they're just gender norms. They're not real. We made them up. It's cool. Just chill, fam. It's fine. Like, Kelly and I were on TikTok the other day, just scrolling through videos, and found a bunch of videos of guys dressing up in maid outfits. And they're like really cute guys, really cute guys. Like that joke, like 3 jokes ago about like only really dating girls, like might not be a joke anymore. Like very cute guys. And I just don't understand why the right fucking hates it. If anything, cross-dressing is like the most masculine thing I can imagine. Basically, only guys do it. Basically, only guys are famous for it. And like, if the things on TikTok that I'm seeing are true, like, we're really, really fucking good at it. Like, it's a very masculine endeavor. Just chill, guys. It's cool. Alright, second non sequitur joke. Why is John Malkovich famous? I know all of you just stood like straight up and you were like, well, hell no. Have you seen this movie Being? Yes. Yes, I promise you I've seen Being John Malkovich. Yes, I promise you the person you're watching this with has also seen Being John Malkovich. Everyone has seen Being John Malkovich. I get it. Why the fuck was a movie made about being John Malkovich? Like, why? Like, just, I know we were all asleep at the wheel in the 80s and like, you could just do whatever you want, but like, why is he famous? Not that I'm opposed to him being famous. I like his body of work. I guarantee you like his body of work too, because I've told this joke to probably literally hundreds of people, and no one has ever had a problem with his body of work. No one's ever had a problem with him. And literally no one has ever been able to explain to me why we all like John Malkovich. 0 people. It's unexplainable. It's just one of those things. We're apparently all programmed when we come out of the womb to just like John Malkovich for no goddamn reason. And I don't have a problem with it. I just think it's really fucking weird that every single person in the United States agrees on this. We can't agree if the earth is flat or if it's round. But every single person is like, John Malkovich is pretty cool. Have you seen that movie? Yes, everyone's seen Being John Malkovich. Yes, it got made. I don't know why. He apparently memed himself into existence. Good for him. Alright. That's pretty much it. I've got one more joke. I hope you've laughed. I think I've probably hit about the 5-minute mark, which is, you know, pretty good for me. 365 days. I've been thinking about baseball the whole time. So, my last joke. If you are a female feminist and you want to get cast in a horror movie, what's the horror movie to get cast in? You're wrong, and it's zombies, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the only time in your entire life the guy will actually only like you for your brains. That was it. I hope you laughed at least once. Probably the only time you'll laugh in 2020. Hopefully, we'll get 2 more laughs in 2021.
Oh, hello again. What an absolute, truly treat. You know, I am so glad that you could come and visit me here in my office again. And you know what? I think I have just the thing to read next. You know, laughter is a great medicine. But you know what is also a great medicine? Heartwarming stories. They just melt your heart, make you feel good from the inside out. So, shall I share with you some heartwarming stories? In March of 2009, Indianapolis postal carrier Jackie Jefferson was substituting on another carrier's route. Having been on the job for only a few months, Jefferson approached a house and heard a fire alarm beeping from inside. Then she heard someone calling for help. "It was instinctive," she said. "I wasn't thinking. I puffed up my nerves and I did it. I can't believe it happened. Well, what did she do? Jefferson dropped her mailbag, ran into the burning living room, found an 80-year-old woman sitting in a wheelchair, and pushed her outside. Seconds later, flames started billowing out the front door. The victim was treated at a hospital, and Jefferson went on to finish her daily rounds. Neither rain, nor sleet, nor fire. Am I right? Oh, truly inspiring. 11-year-old David Murphy's school bus was stopped at a Cleveland, Ohio gas station one day in 2008. The bus driver was in the restroom. He'd left the 27 grade school students unattended, left the engine running, and neglected to put on the parking brake. While the kids waited, the bus began to roll out of the parking lot, picking up speed as it headed downhill on a crowded 2-lane road. Kids were screaming, and some even jumped out of the moving bus. But David jumped into the driver's seat, only to see a grim situation. A semi-truck, horn blaring, was coming straight for them. There was no room to veer left, and ahead on the right, there were 4 concrete bridge supports. Beyond the underpass, there was nothing to stop the bus except for the Cuyahoga River at the bottom of a very long hill. David grabbed the wheel and steered to the right, barely avoiding the semi. He then steered the bus towards the last bridge support and dove behind the driver's seat just before impact. The bus hit the barrier hard, and a lot of students were shaken up, including David, but there were no serious injuries. The bus driver was fired and charged with several offenses. A shy kid, David later admitted he didn't tell anyone what he did at first because he was afraid he would get into trouble for driving the bus. Oh, David, what a courageous act. And there it is. Truly, truly heartwarming stories. Hopefully this helps make you feel a little bit better inside. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening. Hi, Oga. Hi. Yes. So that was Garrett, followed by Office Party. Welcome back. Next up, it's actually kind of a last minute entry. However, completely 100% worth it. The next singer, she actually she told me that she stayed up all night last night working on rewriting a song specifically for tonight's show. So without much further ado, here is Angela.
I decided to rewrite the lyrics of a song you've probably heard before in honor of 2020. You moved into the present like you were looking to fuck things up. Your first month in and fires raged. Things were already rough. You barely gave us room to breathe when someone mentioned World War III, and all at once came COVID-19, COVID-19. You're a pain. You probably think we quarantined for you. You're a pain. I bet you think we quarantined for you, don't you, don't you? Well, you had me many months ago, back before March 13. He said we'd make such memories, but no plans came to be. I had to dream just to fly in an airplane, fly in an airplane, and you're a pain. I bet you think we quarantined for you, you're a pain. I bet you think we quarantined for you, don't you, don't you? Well, I heard by now you're nearly over, but man, you've had a run. Disaster, pandemic, and murder hornets, really, what more can be done? That's enough for one lifetime, and just in 1 year, how I'd wish it was different, wish it was different. You're a pain. I bet you think we quarantined for you. You're a pain. I bet you think we quarantined for you. Don't you, don't you? You're a pain. I bet you think we quarantined for you. You're a pain. I bet you think we've quarantined for you. Don't you, don't you?
All right, everyone should be able to hear me now. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, golly, gee willikers, production crew getting in my way. Thank you very much, Angela. Next up, we have a good friend of mine. He is a man from my past. Dated one of my best friends growing up, and he has turned into a phenomenal singer, phenomenal songwriter, and just all around great freaking guy. So I would love more than anything. Kevin, hopefully that you can see me. Is he shaking his head right? Okay, perfect. You can hear me. So that's perfect. So next up, please welcome Mr. Kevin Sullivan. Actually, don't, not yet, not yet. Hang on, real quick. We got to do this. Now you can't see me. However, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Good.
there we go. Hey, thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Kevin Sullivan. How are you this evening?
Josh, I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm really glad you asked me to join you. This has been pretty entertaining, especially that last one. You're a pain. I love that one.
Right?
That was funny.
Yeah, that was my good friend Angela. I'm so grateful for her doing that. What is it you're going to be singing for us this evening?
Well, kind of tried to keep to the theme. By the way, this is our happy 2021 banner.
Love it.
I moved. Otherwise, it looks like I've got alien antennas coming out of my head. So I kind of moved. Um, but I've got two originals here. One of them I don't really have a name for. I just call it the blues, and it kind of makes sense because a lot of people felt the blues in 2021, and so I figured I'd sing this one for them. And another one I've got is one that I actually kind of geared more towards traditional music, sea shanties type stuff, which is something I'm really into. And it's called Home. So I'll be playing that one second, I guess, to go out on a happier later note.
Well,
But
before you go, sea shanties. You're part of a group, are you not?
yeah, yeah, bunch of Calvert County locals. One of them sitting here next to me. It's my lovely better half, M, and the rest are probably partying hardy right now as they have their individual New Year's Eve parties. But yeah, it's a handful of us, four of us right now, and we really enjoy bringing some history to shenanigans or shenanigans to history, however you want to however you want to call it.
And
We're called Bone and String. Bone being the people singing, and the string being the guitar. For now, hopefully, we're gonna try and get some more instruments in there. So.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're excited to hear what you've got for us. Please continue.
Yeah, thank you, man. It's my pleasure. All right. Do the blues all come in one color, or the different hues? Do they know one another? Do they get tired of all the sad songs? Do they smile or react to the weather? Is there more than one way to be sad? Is there more than one way to wish you could play the blues? Oh, and who said the blues have one guitar, 10 packs a day singing through the tar? Who said you have to know the blues to sing the blues in blue suede shoes? And who said your heart will find the way? Whoever said that can smoke 10 packs a day? And I gotta know if dark blue knows that light blue misses him too. Oh, 'cause you know, two kinds of blues wears out the shoes as they pace back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, do the blues nor the other colors, do they mix and match and blend with one another? Do the hues between light and dark blue get confused because of light and dark's mood? It's a roller coaster of color, unite with one another tonight. Oh, 'cause you know, the dark blue knows he's halfway there without the hues in between. And light blue knows, oh, that they'll be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They'll be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They'll be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Something like that. Thank you.
Sorry, we had to unmute the mic before you could hear us, but the production crew here loved it.
Oh, right on. Thank you, guys. I hope everybody out there in internet land enjoyed it too. Hopefully you got something. YouTube land. Hopefully you got something from it. This next one is another original that actually we play with my band Bone and String. It's one that I wrote about coming home. And it's aptly named Home. By the way, imagine like sailing the seven seas in a big fancy ass pirate hat. That's like the vibe. Surely as the sun she rises, through the waves I'll crash to you. Deeper than the sea goes diving, will you find my love is true? Go on, my love, go on, go on, my love, sing on. Though I may be a rover, all the wide world over, I'll still come home. Home, home, home. still come home. Oh, oh, oh. I've seen the devil and the colors of the masks he wears. I've sailed the shores and more where maps and monarchs do not dare. And under the scars and curses, body and soul have weathered there is a heart that beats and beats for you. Though I may be a rover, all the wide world over, I will still come home. Home, I'll still come home. Home,
Yeah! Oh my gosh! Oh, gee willikers! Oh, I'm so glad I asked you to join. Oh my golly, gee willikers!
Oh, I'm glad I came, man. This is fun. This is cool as hell. I gotta figure out how to do this too. I couldn't do the set though. I mean, I didn't even do the paper sign on the back. I don't know how you did that, man. You got a boss ass set.
Lots of work and a couple of weeks working on it. I mean, my set is awesome. I know that, but how do we get more of you?
You just ask real nice, like. Um, I've got an EP I put out a couple of years ago on iTunes.
That's what
Um,
I'm looking for. I want you
yeah.
to plug it, because
Um,
I know my production crew right here wants to hear more of it, and I'm willing to bet that a good majority of our audience wants to hear more. Please
oh,
plug
that's
away, plug away.
that's very kind of you. Thank you. Um, yeah, there's like me and I think another guy named Kevin Sullivan up there. I think there's even an Australian dude named Kevin Sullivan that does some pretty good country, but that's not me. Um, there's another dude that does like some I don't know some sort of pop hip hop thing, and he has a song called Bisexual. That's not me. Um, I you'll see my face because I'm narcissistic as hell on front of the CD. And Yeah, 4 songs. It's called Propeller, and uh, I don't get a chance to play them very often because I'm always doing Irish stuff, which is fun now. But it's a really good way to support local music, and hopefully I'll finally get that first check from Apple. It's been out for a while, and I'm waiting on my quarters to pile up so that I can finally make my first. Well, I think it's my first deposit from them.
Kevin, you're talking to a guy that literally started a show because I wanted people to stare at me while I recited poetry. So I totally understand the whole narcissistic aspect of that. So thank you so very much for joining us. Uh, thank you again. Uh, you know,
Thank you.
that was
Yeah.
so wonderful. Um, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you continue to join us for the rest of the show. I guess hopefully we'll catch you next year.
Yeah, I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. And thanks to the stuff that I've seen. I mean, the variety show thing you guys got going with all the different kinds of acts. It's something that not a lot of people are doing these days, much less broadcasting it and giving locals a chance to do it. So, I mean, this is your fault, man. Well done.
Thank you very much. Have yourself a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you in the YouTube comments. Catch you
All
later.
right, cool. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, back to me. Back to me. Oh my golly, gee willikers. I know I can't hear you, and I know he can't hear you, but please, give him a round of applause. Hopefully my production. Oh, there they go. There they go. Woo! All right. Next next up is something that I felt that I had to introduce. Um, we're seeing her again, but it wasn't something that I could just do. It's something that I had to prepare you for. We're seeing Celeste again. However, the only way that I can describe this is as and what I wrote on my board here is Celeste Adventure. Please enjoy.
Night on Sunday, and I keep trying to record songs, but it's not working because I'm not being loud, like sort of on purpose, but also like half on purpose because I am afraid to wake up my psycho neighbors. So I'm gonna go to my car and record. Let's get a scarf. Maybe I should make a drink. Don't drink and drive, kids. No alcohol, but I made waffles. It's all about risk. I guess while I'm driving around looking for a good place to park and sing to you, I'll just sing what I usually sing while I drive. Okay, that's where I was gonna park to sing, but as you can see, there are 2 cars there already, and part of the reason I left my house is because I'm sing shy, like pee shy, except different.
Minaj Friday, pink wig, thick ass, give him whiplash. I think big, get cash, make him blink fast.
Look at these lights. It's like these neighbors. Oh, okay. Plenty of cars at the lakefront. Pretty sure several drug deals are happening, but I'm far enough away from them that I'm not sing shy.
Your song, written by the hands of God. Don't get me wrong, this might sound to you a bit hard, but you own the place where all my thoughts go hiding. Right under your clothes is where I'll find them. Underneath your clothes, there's an endless story. There's the man I chose, there's my territory, and all things I deserve for being such a good girl, honey. Because of you, I forgot the smart ways to lie. Because of you, I'm running out of reasons to cry. When our friends are gone, when the party's over, we will still belong to each other. Underneath your clothes, there's an endless story. There's the man I chose, there's my territory, and all things I deserve for being such a good girl, honey. Underneath your clothes, there's an endless story. There's the man I chose, there's my territory, and all things I deserve for being such a good girl, for being such a... I love you more than all that's on the planet. Moving, talking, walking, breathing. You know it's true, baby, so funny. You almost don't believe it. As every voice is hanging from the silence. Lamps are hanging from the ceiling. Like a lady tied to her manners. I'm tied up to this feeling. Underneath your clothes, there's an endless story. There's the man I chose. There's my territory and all things I deserve for being such a good girl, honey. Underneath your clothes, whoa, there's the man I chose. There's my territory and all the things I deserve for being such a good girl. For being such a good girl. So you can see why I didn't want to record that one at home, because I didn't want my neighbors thinking I had a celebrity guest staying over. This fucking levy cop keeps trying to kill my fucking vibe. I'm out of here. All that she wants is another baby. She's gone tomorrow.
Transition. Good.
Loved it.
Adventure. An adventure. So that's another advantage of this year's show, of this whole streaming aspect, is that we're able to accept videos from anybody, really. And so this year's show is national. Celeste sent those videos in from Louisiana. So we are now across multiple state lines. I do believe Lee is actually in North Carolina. So we are across several state lines. And so that's awesome to me. You know, it like this itty bitty little thing turned into a national thing, and I don't care who you are or what you say. I know that there are people that are tuning in from across this nation, and I am calling this a national broadcast now. Thank you very much. Woo! So, with that said, I don't think you've seen enough of me, and I think that you need more of me. So, I am going to tell you a joke now. And before I proceed, you need to know that I am putting myself in grave danger for telling this story, and I recommend that you do not forward this to anyone or even mention that I told it to you in this video. Please share this video on and like and subscribe or something like that. That's what you do on YouTube, right? Anyway, you have been warned. This is the purple flower joke. Jimmy is pretty much your average 9-year-old. He's got a good family, is making good grades in school, and everything is going good. One day, as he's walking to school, he passes a small patch of purple flowers growing along the sidewalk. He thinks of how his third grade teacher is nice to him and how much she would enjoy these. He kneels down and starts to picking. He's within a block of school, and after he's got about a handful of flowers together, he hears the bell ring. Oh no, he's going to be late. So he gets up and hurries to the building, dropping a couple of flowers along the way. He walks into class. Everyone is already seated, and the teacher is about to start today's lesson. Jimmy? She is very curious. You've never shown up late before. What's up? Out of breath, Jimmy answers. I'm sorry, it'll never happen again. Don't worry. It's all right. I wouldn't start class without you. Before he sits down, he walks up to her desk with a gift. But I did pick these purple flowers for you. The room went silent. His teacher looks up in horror. Purple flowers? Purple flowers? Young man, you're going to the principal's office. She jumps to attention, kicks the chair out from under her, and slaps the flowers out of his hands. But now, she points to the door, refusing to look poor Jimmy in the eye. He turns around, stares at the floor, and starts walking. In the hall, he starts mumbling to himself. They're just flowers. What's wrong with... He can barely keep his composure. The principal is at his desk, lazily organizing his fine collection of pencils, when Jimmy walks in. Well, hey there, Jimmy. You look awful. What's troubling you? Well, just my teacher sent me. Well, that's weird. You're a good kid. I don't think you've ever been here before. Well, I know, sir. He finally works up some effort. You see, I was on the way to school when I decided to pick some purple flowers. Okay, that's it! The principal takes on a fierce demeanor. You're out of here! Jimmy is shocked. Just go home and don't come back. His principal swivels his chair away from him. I'm destroying all your records. You're no longer allowed to enter this building. Confused, Jimmy understands he has no choice but to get up and walk home. With barely enough energy, he opens the front door. Hearing him walk in, his mother comes in from another room. Are you feeling okay, son? I don't know, Mom. They told me to go home. Oh, dear. Did someone pick on you? She walks over and hugs him. No, Mom. Did you make a bad grade on something? No, Mom. Well, it must have been pretty bad. What was it, dear? Well, I was walking to school this morning, and since my teacher is pretty nice, I decided to pick some flowers for her. They were these pretty little purple flowers. Son, you did not! She pushes him away and points across the house. You go to your room right this minute and wait until your father comes home. There will be none of that in this family. But go! He won't stand for this. Mom has a very masculine voice. Jimmy runs to his room, slams the door behind him, and jumps under the covers, crying. 3 hours later, he hears the front door open. His dad is home from lunch. With his bedroom door shut and being covered with a layer of blankets, Jimmy hears some muffled talking in the hallway. Then the door opens. Son, your mother tells me there's been a problem at school. Care to talk about it? No. Yes. I mean, no. I don't want to talk about it. Jimmy is having trouble keeping back the tears. His dad sits on the edge of the bed with him. Don't worry, son. It can't be that bad. Are you sure? A muffled voice peeks over the covers. His father assures him. Yeah. We can talk about anything. What's going on? Well, Jimmy stops crying. I was walking to school today, and I thought of my teacher, and she's so pretty, and I thought she would like a gift, so I picked some little flowers along the way. I mean, they were just these pretty little purple flowers. His father stands up. What? I thought I taught you better than this. If there's one thing I won't stand for in this house, it's what, Dad? Jimmy is cowering in fear. You get your stuff together right now and get out of here! Your mother and I are just going to... We're just gonna have to try again at this kid-making business. But, Dad! No buts! He storms over to the window and yanks down the curtain. As the whole mess starts crashing, he pulls the curtain rod away. Next, he yanks the blanket away from Jimmy. With it, he proceeds to scrape up all Jimmy's toys from off the floor, throws them in the blanket. On the blanket, he also empties all of Jimmy's clothes from the dresser. He grabs the curtain rod, bundles the blanket with all of its new contents, and finally picks up Jimmy, who is absolutely terrified of the situation he's found himself in. His father drags him by the shirt collar to the front door, slaps the curtain rod blanket full of his possessions onto his shoulder, smacks Jimmy on the back, pushing him outside, and slams the front door. 3 hours later, Jimmy is alone, walking north along the railroad tracks with all of his possessions bundled over his shoulder, with bags under his eyes and patches of stubble on his face. Yes, he appears to have aged 20 years in the past morning. On his right is the town, disappearing. On his left is the beginning of the forest. Just ahead, however, is what appears to be a small campfire at the edge of the trees. Jimmy can just barely see a small figure huddled around it. With nothing to lose, he changes his path down the hill and toward the fire. As Jimmy walks up, he sees a homeless man wearing some tattered clothes, stuffing wigs and shoes into a pot half full of water sitting above a flame. The man ignores Jimmy as he sits down. After a couple moments of silence, the homeless man speaks. "Where you headed, boy?" Hesitant, Jimmy works up the answer. "Nowhere." Nah. Everyone's going somewhere. You wouldn't understand. Oh. You're running away. No, I was kicked out. Well, what the hell ever for? Did you kill somebody? I said you wouldn't understand. Don't worry about it. I've heard them all. You want to know why I'm here? Walking along the railroad tracks alone, with my only possessions bundled over my shoulder? Sure. You promise not to get mad and kick me out? Yeah, okay. Well, you see, I was walking to school thinking of my teacher. Jimmy looks at the homeless man out of the corner of his eye. And I decided to... He gets up on his knees as if to get in a better position to run away. Well, I was thinking she was so pretty, and I saw some flowers, and I wanted to pick some purple flowers for her. Dude! With only one eye, the homeless man glares at Jimmy. You promised! No, man, you don't do that. What's the big deal? I can't talk about it. And if you knew what was good for you, you'd get your crap together and get the hell out of here. Where am I gonna go? I've been kicked out of school, disowned by my family. The only person who would speak to me is probably going to tell me to run away again, and I'm only 9 years old. Jimmy stands up. I want to know what the big deal is with these purple flowers. Keep your damn voice down. Keep your damn voice down. You never know who's hiding in these woods. Now sit down, boy. Hearing the first positive reaction. Hearing the first positive reaction from anyone all day, Jimmy calms down. I'm sorry, I've had a bad day. Well, and for good reason. Here, I'm only gonna tell you once, so listen up. You can find the answers to all your problems in the next town. Where? Jimmy is a hyper 9-year-old. Remember? I'm getting there, boy. What you do is you get back up on them tracks, walk about 15 miles in the same direction you were going, and you'll get to the next town. At the first big intersection, head to your right about 2 blocks. Go left for a block, then go to the left again about a half a block. And on the north side of the street, in the middle of a bunch of buildings all run together, you'll see an open doorway. Inside that is a flight of stairs, and at the top of them stairs is a hallway. You need to go to the right all the way to the end, turn to the left, go down 4 doors on your right, and there will be another hallway. Then the second door on your left will be a door with a purple flower on it. Behind that door is what you're looking for. Now get your ass moving, because it makes me sick just having a look at you. Oh my God. Oh, thank you. Jimmy is so excited he runs off without picking up his belongings. The homeless man glances back and forth between Jimmy happily running away and Jimmy's belongings sitting next to the fire in front of him. He shrugs, unties the blanket, grabs a random toy, and tosses it in the boiling water. 3 hours later, Jimmy, exhausted from 15 miles of running, sees the next town in the distance. The shadows from the forest on his left are getting longer, and nightfall is coming soon. Looking forward to a conclusion to his strange set of events, he continues jogging. As he gets to the first intersection, he remembers the homeless man's directions verbatim. Head to your right, 2 blocks. He goes to the right a couple of blocks and jogs to the intersection. Go left for a block. He turns to the left, jogs across the street, and goes for another block. Go left again about a half a block. Jogging around a building, he takes a left. Across the street! He looks across the street, and sure enough, among a line of clearly marked offices is an open doorway. He can barely make out the flight of stairs in the darkness behind it. Oh, he gets excited. He gets so excited. Oh, we're finally getting to it. He takes off running across the street and is hit by a truck. And now we have a unique experience lined up for you. Being virtual gives us the opportunity to be not only across state lines, a national broadcast, if you will, but we are now also officially international. We are going to get a quick lesson from all the way from Italy.
Hey, Harborview Marina. I just wanted to send my love from Italy along with my recipe for my foolproof chocolate mousse that is super easy and you can also make on your boat. So for 8 people, I whipped 8 egg whites with 2 tablespoons of sugar, and I saved the yolks. And then I melted 8 ounces of semi-sweet dark chocolate, and that's about it. Just throw in the egg yolks into the chocolate. It's kind of hard to show on video, but you can see I'm just stirring it in, and that partially cooks the egg yolks, which is good for sanitary purposes. And you're gonna have to do it kind of quickly. This way it doesn't get cold and overly thick. That's it. And then I throw in about half of the whipped egg whites, and I stir them in kind of with some energy. This way the batter gets a little looser. So don't be afraid to overdo this, because truly the purpose is simply to loosen up the batter. There, see, it's getting a little softer. And then I will gently fold in the remaining half with this type of movement. I like to think that some of you can make this and it's almost as if I'd made it for you. But what I'm gonna do with this tonight is I'm gonna see my niece from Holland and my nephews who live here, and we're gonna eat it all, I'm sure. Alright, so it takes a little bit of patience to fold in the egg whites, but not really that much. I think it's about a minute or so. Scrape the bottom nicely because it will tend to stick to the bottom, and then you're gonna have a thicker batter on the bottom. You don't want that. And that's about it. See how smooth it is? All I do is I pour it in individual serving cups. Hopefully you have a better container to pour it in and not just a spoon like I'm doing it for the camera. That's about it. If you want to, you can add your favorite fruit like raspberries or pears or just whipped cream on top. Put this in the refrigerator for 6 hours, or you can also freeze it. And that's it. I hope you enjoy them. And please don't forget your promise to visit in Italy sooner or later. My door is always open for you guys. And truly best wishes for 2021. It's gotta be better, right? Bye-bye.
Okay, so sorry about that. There was a slight mix-up in selecting the next scene on that. However, that was a quick cooking instruction from Paolo. So thank you very much. For those who that don't know, normally this show is a live event at a marina. Actually, we have seen him, Jeremy and Garrett, as a matter of fact. They both live on a boat at Harbor View Marina, and normally this show is takes place at the Harbor View Marina in their lounge. Obviously, this year it is taking place in the basement of my house in my wonderful speakeasy. But with that said, I just wanted to give a little bit of context to what he means when he says Harbor View. With that said, also, I hope that invitation is open to me and my wonderful wife, Amber. We will be coming to Italy, and I hope your door is open for us. we're and we expect that moose at the front door.